I do like tariffs.
Tariff.
Tariffs. Tremendous tariffs. Tariffs.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
Your ultimate pit stop for trade, torque, and transformation. Big changes are on the horizon for North America's economic engine. A bold new trade corridor, valued at $120 billion, is emerging between Mexico and Canada, and it's leaving the U.S. on the sidelines. This isn't just about trains, tariffs, or trucks. It's a tectonic shift in trade dynamics, sparked by a major policy move from President Trump. Starting August 1st, a 30% tariff on steel, auto parts, copper, and lithium-based imports from Mexico and Canada will come into effect. What followed this announcement wasn't hesitation, it was action. Mexico and Canada responded not with threats or countermeasures, but with a radical blueprint, a northern trade corridor built to bypass U.S. ports entirely. Let's break it down. 1. The spark: how tariffs united Mexico and Canada. It all started on July 12, 2025. President Trump issued a sweeping trade directive targeting core industrial imports from the United States' closest partners. The tariff wasn't just an economic lever, it was a signal, and it echoed across North America. But instead of retaliating or retreating, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney formed a direct line of communication. Their goal: safeguard trade under the USMCA framework and protect their economies. Within days, a new alliance was born. The two countries unveiled a northern corridor, a sophisticated tariff-free logistics pathway that would effectively cut out U.S. ports, customs, and oversight. This wasn't reactive policymaking, it was strategic coordination. In Mexico, billionaire industrialist Carlos Slim and leading steel manufacturers were brought to the table. In Canada, a 5-year Pacific port expansion was suddenly fast-tracked with fresh capital. The North wasn't panicking, it was planning. And fast. From competition to collaboration, Mexico and Canada turned U.S. pressure into an opportunity. What began as a political response quickly turned into a continental reshaping of supply chains. 2. Corridor mechanics: steel rails and digital customs. This isn't a simple highway or a rail upgrade. The Northern Corridor is a multi-lane, multimodal juggernaut. First up, the Pacific Short Link, a rail system connecting Mexico's lithium and EV component hubs in Monterrey and Sonora directly to Canada's Prince Rupert Terminal. No U.S. tracks, no customs duties, and definitely no federal fees. Then comes the Great Lakes Flow Ring, a maritime shipping network redirecting Canadian raw materials like nickel sulfate and steel through offshore logistics centers near Cuba and then into Veracruz, Mexico, completely bypassing major U.S. ports like Buffalo. The result? A projected 27% drop in U.S. inland cargo traffic. Docks in Chicago and Buffalo may soon echo with emptiness. And it gets smarter. This corridor includes a digital customs backbone. Canada's blockchain-enabled customs system now syncs with Mexico's geoport logistics. Goods are electronically cleared before they even leave port. No inspections, no delays, no red tape. That alone could cost the U.S. $3.5 billion annually in lost border processing revenue. 3. Impact zone: Detroit's EV dreams derail. If there's one place this trade shakeup hits hardest, it's Detroit. As of 2024, over 750 million tons of goods flowed through U.S. routes between Mexico and Canada, representing $138 billion in bilateral trade. The new corridor plans to redirect nearly half that volume, an estimated $69 billion, by 2026. Detroit's auto industry, already stretched thin by global competition, now faces another hurdle. Mexican lithium batteries and EV parts will travel north to Canada and then across the Atlantic, skipping the U.S. completely. Major players like GM, CAMI, and Biotech EV have already signaled that they'll adopt this non-U.S. supply chain starting March 2026. Up to 360,000 fewer EVs assembled annually in Detroit, translating to 108,000 indirect job losses and a staggering $12.7 billion hit to the Midwest's economy. From freight haulers to factory workers, the ripple effects of this corridor will be felt deep across America's industrial heartland. Clean energy and carbon credits, the corridor's hidden weapon. While railways and shipping lanes grab the headlines, another strategy quietly powers the corridor forward: clean energy alignment. Canada recently inked a deal to export 5 million tons of LNG annually from Kitimat to Manzanillo, Mexico. This gas used to power California's grid. Now it's boosting Mexico's industrial capacity, leaving California with a projected 3.1 billion rise in electricity costs. But here's where the strategy gets surgical. Canada's low-emission steel and Mexico's high-efficiency lithium production are aligned with Europe's climate targets. The EU's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, CBAM, will soon penalize high-emission imports. But this corridor, it's engineered for compliance. That means faster customs clearance, carbon credit eligibility, and tariff exemptions for goods entering Europe. What began as a trade workaround has now become a green-certified expressway for climate-conscious exports, a corridor of the future, not just the present.
If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way.
5. Political momentum, a new normal cemented. It's not just talk, it's funded and under construction. Canada's Export Development Bank pledged 2.1 billion Canadian dollars, and Mexico's Bank of Maxt followed with 27 billion US dollars to back the corridor. First shipments are expected to launch within 6 months. And here's the kicker: even if the US reverses tariffs next year, the damage may already be done. Why? Path dependency. Once supply chains adapt, they rarely go back. If the new corridor proves faster, greener, and $34 cheaper per ton, businesses will stick with it permanently. Final gear. What's next for North American trade? This corridor is not a detour, it's an overhaul. With new ports, smart rails, LNG networks, and climate-conscious systems, it could fundamentally redraw the trade map of North America. Entire industries, from auto assembly to logistics to clean energy exports, are now in play. The U.S. must choose, adapt its policy and infrastructure, or risk being left behind. Will Washington back down on tariffs under economic pressure? Will Detroit reinvent itself or continue to bleed manufacturing strength? And will this corridor become the blueprint for post-tariff trade around the globe? Only time will tell. And is this just the beginning of a bigger global shift in trade alliances? Let us know. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications.